videos about preparing your composting toilet involve taking your coconut fiber brick, dropping it in a bucket of water, and then waiting a couple hours for the water to get absorbed so that you can break it apart by hand. I don't always have a couple hours to wait for my coconut fiber brick to break up. So I decided to experiment with alternative methods of accelerating the process of preparing the coconut fiber for the toilet. My first thought was to take a hatchet, chop the brick up so that it could absorb water faster. Seems that hatchets aren't very good on the coconut fiber, but sledgehammers are. I usually carry both a hatchet and a sledgehammer for breaking up firewood for cutting kindling, but just pounding the coconut fiber brick, leaving it in the plastic container, now, when we tear open the plastic container, coconut fiber is already broken into smaller chunks. And even these chunks, the shock waves of the hammer allow you to break them up fairly easily. Now, if you don't like getting your hands wet and full of the wet, icky coconut core, you can break the fibers up now with your bare hands without waiting for them to absorb the water. Fibers in little chunks, and you can just break them apart with your bare hands. So, see, fiber falls apart easily. Now, when you add the water, it only takes a couple minutes for the coconut fibers to absorb the water and get into your toilet. Okay, in all the cooking shows, they always like to show you a little aerial view looking down on your cooking area. So let's take a quick look at what our sledgehammer action with the coconut core has done. Now you can take and easily break this stuff up now into smaller chunks. In the instructions it says you can leave some of the chunks in when you put them in the toilet. But right now this is very easy to break up. It's going to absorb the water much faster. You don't have to wait a couple hours, and you can have your toilet out and in and ready to use much faster using the patented Skib-Ostenberg sledgehammer method. So once you've gone through, it's kind of a Zen task going in and breaking up little tiny pieces. It's not strictly necessary. You want to have 2 coconut core bricks broken up and ready to use in the composting toilet. But having 2 whole bricks in the toilet is a little more than you're going to want to put in initially. So what you'll want to do is take a little bit of the coconut core, maybe the equivalent of half a brick, I'm not sure, but we just set a little aside, a little bit of reserve core that we can either use to add to the toilet. If we've added too much water and it's too runny, we can put a little bit more coconut core to get it to the right consistency, or we can add it into the toilet later as necessary, but we don't want to put it all into the toilet at once. And a little side tip: if you pretend these are rocks and that you're a giant just breaking them up with your bare fingers, it makes you feel a lot more impressive than sitting here breaking up a coconut core brick. So now that we've got this coconut core ready to prepare, we need to add the water. I don't always measure, I just kind of pour the water in, estimate how much we've got, let it soak in a bit. This is the nasty part where the coconut core kind of turns to mud, but you can see it absorbs the water fairly quickly. We want this eventually to be about the consistency of damp coffee grounds. Stirring it up kind of lets us scoop that water up from the bottom, not rely on the time it takes for the water to wick through. And you see, it's pretty good here. Nice consistency, little dry chunks in there. I understand those aren't bad, but still feels a little dry. So I'm going to add a little bit more water and work it in again. Coconut coir is pretty amazing stuff. So it's starting to feel pretty good, and you've been here from start to finish to see how long it takes. It's none of this several hours of waiting for the coconut coir to absorb water and break up. This is just about ready to throw in the toilet. Now all we have to do is dump the toilet and place in the fresh coconut coir. If we need more, we can add it. We can add water and put it in. Word of advice, you do not want to go through and break up the clods like this in the toilet tank, only in the bucket. So this is our composting toilet installation. We've taken an unusual route. First of all, we have not actually fixed the toilet to the floor. We decided that we have a little bungee cord here tying it to the plumbing. This holds it in place just fine for travel. And then we have a wire strap going from the compost tank to the pee bottle on each side that hold the unit together. One of the reasons we did this when we put in the composting toilet is we wanted to be able to remove it easily so we could use the entire room for a shower without having the composting toilet. You have to sit on the toilet to take a shower. We wanted to be able to take it out easily and not have the brackets on the floor for us to step on. Gina wanted the extra space just for a toilet. The other thing we did is we purchased a secondary pee bottle. In the middle of the night, you're often going to the bathroom and you suddenly realize your pee bottle is almost full, or even worse, it might be full. And this lets you change the pee bottle out without actually having to run out to do a dump. Now, when you're ready to change the composting toilet, we need to take the toilet apart. We will be dumping the pee bottle. We'll just run it over to the bathroom, pour it down the toilet. We'll be dumping the compost tank into a recyclable plastic bag and then throwing it in a dumpster. And then we'll be taking the primary squatting chamber and we will be rinsing that out and cleaning that before we reassemble the toilet. Okay, the trash bag that we're going to be using to dump the recycling toilet compost tank into, we use to cover the countertop so when we take the toilet out of the bathroom and we're moving it outside, we're not getting in contact with our cooking surfaces there. So, going in to pick up the toilet. Disconnect the bungee cord. Coming out. You have to be very careful that one of your hands is holding the strap on the pee bottle and the other hand is holding the back of the toilet. We're now going to run around behind the van so the rest of this operation is not done in public. Okay, come around and we bring the patient to the back of the van. We like to do this outside the area with the utility shower because we can use this to rinse things down, take care of. I'm going to go back and get the trash bag. that we're going to use to dump the toilet. So the first step is we release the little nuts on the P tank and we pull our wire loose. Now, we do not use the ventilating fan. We put another piece of screen on each side. We haven't noticed a problem with an odor in our tank yet. It's been going about 2 months, 3 months, clean fairly regularly. But we've developed a system to try to control odors. We use a product called Nature's Miracle. And every time we finish using the bathroom, we take a bottle of diluted Nature's Miracle and we squirt down the inside of the tank to keep the odors down. We found the most odor we get seems to be from urine, and that's from smells that are collecting up here in the separating tank. So we're going to have to clean that today before we put the toilet back in. And we'll be taking the pee bottle when we take the toilet apart. We'll take the pee bottle, we're going to take that over to the bathroom and dump it. We disconnect the screws that hold the lid of the toilet down. Slight turn to the left, pull up, and our toilet tank is now free. So now we have the compost tank. It doesn't smell. Here I am standing right next to a tank full of poo, and the composting toilet system has done a very good job of keeping the odor down, which is why we decided to go without the ventilated system, which would take up more space in our bathroom. We'd have all these hoses around, we'd have more things to disconnect when we get the toilet going, and just more to clean, more hassle. We may change our mind later, but at this point, several months on the road, it hasn't been a problem for us. Dumping the tank, we just take the bag, throw over the tank, and flip it upside down. Got to handle a couple of cranks just to cut loose any the tank has been dumped. We're going to take the compost bag and we can run it over to the trash area. Okay. I just had a request from Gina. She had been concerned that she had seen some flies in the bathroom. When I changed the tank, I found no evidence of any insects in the tank. But just to be safe, we decided to do a more thorough cleaning. Normally with the composting chamber, if there's any moist compost that sticks to the side, you leave that in because there's enzymes in there that will help kickstart the next load of compost. In this case, just in case there was any chance of bugs in the tank and any eggs, took a paper towel, I swabbed out the inside of the compost chamber, and I put that in the compost tank with everything else. Now, I should note, I'm not wearing rubber gloves. I understand this is standard practice. I don't like rubber gloves. I don't like carrying rubber gloves. I've got an outside shower right here with soap and water. I'm going to wash my hands thoroughly after. So also, you should take this as testimonial to the odor in the tank. This doesn't smell like compost. It smells like dirt. So maybe I'm being deceived by its innocuous aroma, but I just try and keep my hands clean. I wash them thoroughly afterwards, and it's a lot easier for me. I'm going to go ahead and dump the tank and I will be back in a little bit to finish up the video on cleaning the head. Okay, we've dumped the tank, the pee tank in the restroom. We've dumped the compost into the dumpster. Now we want to clean the rest of the toilet. Do this here. Keep the toilet on the solids tank. Normally we don't do this, we just go straight. Sometimes we'll take this to the bathroom when we sit down in the shower, but here, we're going to do it here. And we're going to start by rinsing out the bowl very thoroughly. Into the solids tank. Using hot water to dissolve any icky stuff that might be hanging around. Make sure you tilt back and get the underside. That can get pretty nasty.
So when you might as well put up the tent, the shower tent, and I'm still gonna take a shower. I want you to put it back in. In the bathroom. Got the first round done. And we'll take in, go and dump this in the toilet. Okay, now we've got the tank cleaned out. We're going to take our bucket full of damp core. So we can see by looking in the tank that I did not put in enough coconut core. This is a common problem. It's a thing I'm always working on. But we take our bag of reserve core. We're going to dump some more in, fill it up, and then add a little bit more water. Moisten it. And then give the crab handle a crank. Kind of stir this in. And we're just about ready to begin pooping.